Hello again, everybody. My name is Dale DuFay. I'm here in South Haven, Michigan, where we're documenting the remodeling of our mobile home. It's a beautiful day. It's Saturday here. Mary's not with me at the moment, but she's doing okay. She had to stay home because her legs get a little swollen if she's on her feet too much. And as many of you know, and for those who don't know, she's recovering from a stroke she had a few years ago. So she does have medical issues that we have to stay on top of and make sure she doesn't overdo it, you know. But I'm here today because we're on the last part of our remodeling here. We got all the carpentry work done. The closet doors are hung. See how nice that is? All the carpentry is done now. There's just a little bit more. I have about 4 or 5 pieces of base and shoe to put up yet. But it's done, completely done everywhere. Even in the closets, I made sure I got them over with, you know. The second bedroom is done. The closet doors are done and up and hanging, swinging, and everything's going well. Here we got this opening we're gonna put in the hallway here. We have a real wide, like 3.5 feet, 42 inches wide hallway. So we're able to put that niche there, which duplicates the windows we have throughout the place. Yesterday was a big day because we had a lot of the plumbing done. We got all the supply lines here to the vanity, to the bathtub, shower and whatnot. And most importantly, we have the toilet hooked up too. We were just using a 5-gallon bucket of water, but now we got the supply line hooked up, and it's like flushing and working really well. So we're real excited about that. And then here's an example of some more of the work that was done. Use that flex line. I'm not familiar with this product, but I am a fan of it. So I wanted to make sure it was done. But I couldn't do it myself because I didn't have the proper tools or know what parts to get and things like that. It's just too unfamiliar with me. But the landlord's manager is very familiar with it. He finally was able to come yesterday and get it all done. He's got everything done except for hooking up the hot water heater. But everything is connected. We have an outside faucet. Everything is connected. Even the sink base in the kitchen is all connected here. Let me show you. It's all done under there. It just has to be hooked up. But again, we have to get the baskets and drains in the sink. But it's not really important now because the water heater's not hooked up yet. So in the next day or two, he'll have that done as well. So, this is the only base I have to put down. Base and shoe is in this living room. And there's really only 3 walls in here. And it's essentially all done. And then, of course, we have to sheetrock this wall now that it's ready. It's ready to do. I'm probably going to do that today. But all the casing, everything's up, as you can see. It's all real nice and tight. Real happy with the product we were using. I noticed that the casing that you get at Menards is way better quality than say at Home Depot. This part here is much thinner, but this is like just really good woodwork. I'm really happy with the product. And then we got the 4.5 inch high, it might be 4 1/4, but it's the high base, colonial base, and it just looks really nice. And of course we got the shoe cut as well, ready to install after the floor. That's why it looks loose. It's not fastened yet, but it's all cut and ready to go. So all the mess will be over with when it comes to time to putting the shoe on after the floor is in. So we do have the floor picked out and vanity picked out. And the paint picked out and everything, and that's all the next material we have to get. And that's a sample of the floor. It's real thick, solid vinyl with the padding underneath. So it's actually going to be really, really nice. And it matches the cabinet. It's not necessary to match the cabinets or anything, but it does a little bit. And also it's got that gray color to it, which we're trying to kind of keep in the theme of things. kind of like a gray color, but we are using China white for the interior, or actually for all the woodwork. And there's a sample example of the China white right there on the top. So it's gonna be really nice. And then we're gonna use a ceiling white, Benjamin Moore ceiling white on the ceiling. And then the wall color we haven't really picked out, but we're gonna keep something quite neutral, you know, like a Navajo white. Well, they used to call it Navajo white, one of the most popular whites, off-whites out there, but they had to change it because of the Indian reference, which is unusual to me because why didn't they change China white, you know? You know what I mean? But anyway, that's another story. But here's all this cutting station. I just walked into the base chute here, but we have plenty of material left to get this job done. I'm gonna try to get the baseboard completed, which would mean the carpentry is 100% complete, which I also been, you know, caulking and filling the putty holes and stuff at the same time. You can see here, you know, filling in all the putty holes while I'm installing it. That way, you know, when it's all done, it's done. It's ready to paint. Of course, gonna have to lightly sand over it first, and then it'll be ready to paint. So that's, you know, where we're at. Mary was here all day yesterday. Again, that's probably why it's a good reason to be staying home today at H1, where she can keep her legs elevated and get some rest, some well-needed rest. Plus, she mowed the yard yesterday. She's really not supposed to be doing that stuff, but it sure looks nice, doesn't it? I mean, like I said, we've been having some good, you know, the weather around here has been really good as far as for grass growing and stuff like that, and the yard being nice and green and everything doing well outside. In fact, I'm sure most of the nation would love to have the weather Michigan has been having in the last week, but we're supposed to be getting pretty hot again. When it comes to next week, it's supposed to be really getting warm, or even this weekend, it's supposed to start getting warm. So there's one of the stars. I think that's Patty. Yeah, hi Chatty Patty. How you doing, babe? The tomcat was out this morning, which was unusual. He was even coming up to the house even here. Well, look at you showing off, huh? But yeah, I wanted to show you some of the, you know, what they took here under here. They ran this line right from there and then all the way under, and just did a really nice, neat job. We were getting our water from this spigot here. Oh, the cat's trying to get in. I stopped her. She likes to get under there when she can. But to show you the spigot we got out here, and that's just nice being able to. We were kind of, you know, we were taking it for granted about not having water. Now we're just gonna have to get used to having access to water anywhere, like any house would have. So, but that's going to be nice, and we're certainly going to appreciate it. So things are moving along really good here, and it should be no problem being able to move in at the end of the month. I predict no problems. It's just a matter. There goes Topes. I just missed him. Tom just went by. But yeah, he usually makes his showing once in a while. Hippie went in the backyard. So, but there shouldn't be any problem. You know, I don't foresee. Just have to, once the woodwork's finished, I can spray all the woodwork. And incidentally, that's why I'm not spraying anywhere else, or not spraying, I mean not painting anywhere else, simply because of the spray work that has to be done. Like if I, you know, painted the ceiling and everything, and then had to spray the woodwork, a lot of overspray would get on the ceiling. So all the drywall is staying bare until all this woodwork sprayed, because I got to spray up on top, you know, and all around. And when I aim up this way to spray, it's going to get overspray all over the ceiling. So we can't do any other painting until the woodwork's done first. And I know that seems backwards to a lot of people, but that's not the way it's supposed to be done. I remember when I first was painting homes in the 1970s, that's how it was always done. We walked into the home and it was all bare. The wood was bare wood. The drywall was, just like this. No primer, no nothing. And we walked in, and that was the first thing we would do. Whether we stained it or painted it, we would do all the woodwork first, and then mask off the woodwork, and then do the ceilings and walls. So that's how I was taught how to do it, and I think that that's the best way to do it. But, everybody's got their own ways. In fact, another reason, if this drywall was painted before I started the woodwork, I would have had damages all over the place, because I can't tell you how many times I hit the ceiling and walls, bringing, not just installing, but just bringing in the material to bring it in onto the chop box there, the miter saw, and cutting it, and then moving it to the appropriate room and stuff. I can't tell you how many times I biffed the ceiling and walls. It's unavoidable. So had it all been painted, it would have been all these touch-ups they have to do, and the painter would be real mad at the carpenter. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, I always think it's silly to do the painting, prematurely, and simply because of that reason alone. Plus, not only that, it's the proper and best way to do it, because once you paint the woodwork here is painted, say this is painted and the walls are ready, it's a lot easier to cut in the wall paint against the edge of the woodwork than it is to paint the woodwork into the edge of the wall. I mean, it's very difficult to do that. It's almost impossible. But this way, it's a lot simpler, and, it's better. And the walls and ceiling are done last, where there's no chance of them getting biffed and nicked up and scratched and scuffed and things like that from the work. I mean, it's bound to happen when we're moving in, but it's, less likely to be as much touch-up. So, and we all know how, touch-ups can be a real pain in the neck. So this is how far this door was a manufacturer defect. It wasn't hung right. I have to actually lower all the hinge mortises all the way down to here to make this door work right. So I got to do that today too. And then I got to fill in the top part where the opening is going to be. So, but other than that, I mean, that's why we kind of do the things the way we do. I have been doing this for 45 years. Not off and on, but constantly for 45 years I've been in the trades. And I started off with painting and then wound up with carpentry, which helps because, again, when you're doing the carpentry, you know what to do. You don't just do the carpentry and walk away. I know what the finishing is involved. And believe me, the finishing takes literally 3 times longer than it does to install. Like, I could take a piece of baseboard, cut it, install it, and walk away. But no, I can't do that. I'm gonna be the one finishing it. So finishing it, like, for example, putting down that piece of base right there. Let's just say it took literally, say 10 minutes to measure it, to cut it, and to nail it up. But it takes like 20 minutes to putty every single hole, which along here, believe it or not, there's about, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 nails in there that I have to fill. And then you have to caulk along the whole top. That actually takes 3 times longer than it does to measure, cut, and install. A lot of people don't appreciate that. I've had customers that thought that the painting aspect of, the finishing, which is the most critical, it takes, a fraction of the time as it does to put it on. People's perspective of all this, perception of all this is way off, because I've had customers, I'd had to argue with customers, like, why aren't you painting the walls first? Why are you doing the woodwork first? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you doing it? And it's almost like they don't appreciate your 45 years of experience, or forget about it. It's really strange. I've been putting up with that for most of my life. In fact, a recent customer, I had to actually walk away from the job because they were thinking I was taking way too long on the finishing. You know, again, you know, and then they decided to do it, and then they screwed it all up. Because it's not as easy as it looks on TV, believe me. It's, I don't know why they make the painting aspect of the trades, you know, seem so easy when it's not. It's actually the most difficult. That's why painters want to come in and paint the walls before the carpenters come in. And like I said, that's not the old school way. You know, it seems like people want to do that more nowadays, you know, because they don't understand the time it takes to get all this woodwork finished. So that's why I like to get it over with right away, you know. So anyway, just, you know, because there's comments out there, that's why I'm mentioning it. You know, like, how come you're not painting the ceiling first? How come you're not doing this? How come you're not doing that? You know, because we prefer to do it old school here. And then believe me, the finished product will be much better and ultimately much more time saved. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed watching, and I thank you for watching. And I'll talk at you later. Love you.